Hey, this is Judah Mantel from SceneForge Studio, and this video is going to be an update for version 0.5.26, as well as a couple notes about previous releases that I didn't make videos on. So let's jump right in. What you see now is a video that's going to be released as a time-lapse, as a separate video on this channel, and it's essentially me just creating a scene that is going to actually be released for free as a zip file for anyone to use and mess around with. It's a good beginner project that just has some objects in the scene, and that's what we're going to be using today for this explanation. So while I'm talking through some of the previous points, this is going to be playing in the background, and I'll kind of scrub through it as I talk. So the first thing is that rather than multi-display output being built into SceneForge at this time, Spout Output is currently implemented again, and that basically means you can take any camera and just output it to any other application on your Windows computer that is supported by Spout. This essentially is just a one-click solution to multi-display, because if you have it outputted to OBS or any other viewer, you can put it anywhere you want, and it just makes it much simpler. Down the road, there is going to be a fully more robust multi-display situation or feature set for SceneForge, but for now, this works as is. And when it comes to Mac, hopefully soon, Siphon is going to be working in the same way. That's the Mac alternative to Spout. There was a couple bug fixes about Sketchfab, and one of my favorite new features is that the PDF exports for storyboards is now quite literally 10 times faster. Previously, it was using a system that is essentially a standalone process running parallel to SceneForge, and it was very messy. But now, because it is all built into the app and it piggybacks off of software that is already built into your Windows machine, it works in a matter of seconds, and it works really well. So now let's jump into what's in this current release. So I'm going to close this video and jump in here. So I have this scene here. It's this canyon scene made up of models from Sketchfab. Most of these are photo scans, as well as a Ready Player Me avatar that you see here, this guy, as well as this animated robot that is also from Sketchfab. Now you'll see there's a lot of reflections going on, a lot of reflective surfaces in this robot, because one of the issues that I had with previous releases is that the reflections on objects were updated a lot faster than the global reflections in the scene. That means that if I were to use the ray trace reflections options, only available in the Pro version, it'll update instantaneously, as you can see. If I turn this off, or you'll see around his armpit and chest, it updates in real time, as opposed to global reflections, which is most notably visible in here, don't update as much or at all in some cases. So now they update 100% in real time. So as I adjust the time of day, for example, you can see that happening on the robot metal as well as the globe over here. Now the position of the reflection probe is dependent on where the active camera is in the scene. Essentially meaning that as I switch between cameras, you might have a little bit of jitter in the stage mode view, but of course from the camera's perspective, nothing will change and it all works seamlessly. This just speeds things up without much impact to the final result. Now, speaking of cameras, let's talk about the new Viewfinder window. And it is this. So I have 3 cameras in the scene, and previously I had to either hunt them down and select them, or actually click them in the hierarchy. But sometimes that can be annoying depending on how many objects are in the scene. So you see this is actually behind the door here, which looks fine, but it's difficult to access. So now we have this handy little button here that'll kind of just cycle through the cameras, selecting them in the scene. And you can see as I switch between them, the reflections will kind of change like that. So that is that new feature. Now I want to really quickly showcase the storyboard functionality before I go, and that is this. So one, the watermark on the free version is much cleaner now. It's not as messy, it's not as intrusive. Now it gets in the corner, you can see it clearly, and it's just, it looks much nicer. And so let's talk about the export. So you can see I have my storyboard frames. These actually look really good. And when I click export, I'm going to link up some of them just for this example. Now, black and white images are not just for HTML, they also work for PDF. So I can click export, and in a matter of 3 seconds, let's say it exports, and then it'll open up in the Explorer, and I can open up and view my PDF in whatever browser you're using. I'm using Chrome because that's my default. And black and white images looks great for super high contrast images if you want to get a quick glance at your storyboard. that works as well. Here we go. And you can see, as I make this bigger, you can zoom in, and you have all of your data here. You even have automatic page numbering, as well as titling with the date and time, and a list of the source file over here. That'll probably be removed in a later release. That's kind of just a bug for now, but it looked great and it works beautifully. And so with that, thank you so much for watching. This has been 0.4.26, 0.5.26. I will see you in the next video.